take responsibility for their sexual acts, and for men who don't want to take responsibility for their sexual acts. Any questions? Go on.
What's the case of the woman who's married? She's healthy, the baby's healthy, she wants to have the child, and she has the choice of her own life and the life of her child. In case she would become pregnant, she would die, or her child would live. What does the church say about the choice of who should live? Should the mother forsake her child? Or she should be selfless and say, I let my children live and let me die. What would you say about that?
So we must do in that kind of situation all that we can do to save both lives. However, there are examples and circumstances where that is impossible. And there is a principle within the church called double jeopardy, which is that if a pregnancy, or rather, let me put it another way, if there is a medical condition requiring the removal of the womb, but that action will also result in the death of the embryo, because the end goal is not abortion, but to deal with another life-threatening condition, you can carry out the operation to save the woman's life, even if it results in the death of a child.
So there is an exception.
But let's be clear. No, let's be clear. The point of such an operation is never to carry out an abortion.
I never said it was.
Exactly.
Understand, but you still.
So I'm saying, if the intent of the action is to treat another condition, i.e., you're not trying to commit an abortion. JC, there's no need to bring the camera up.
So how about the case? You know,
1 second, sir. Sir, 1 second. Sir, 1 second. Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Wasn't Jesus self?
Sir, 1 second.
What did the mother say?
Sir.
I've had my life.
1 second, sir.
Why not bring a new child into the earth?
Listen, can you see if there are any other questions? If there are no other, right.
The mother leaving other children.
Say again, sorry?
So in that case, there are other children at home. She has 3 other children. Are you going to take care of those kids?
What I'm saying is that there is absolutely no justification for an abortion in any circumstances at all, whatever. So it doesn't matter how many conditions and qualifications you introduce to the argument, there is no justification for murdering children in their wombs. What we should do is invest in the technologies and develop the treatments that would allow the saving of both the mother and the child. And ladies and gentlemen, I have hope, because we are very close to creating artificial wombs. We've already raised a lamb in an artificial womb. It grew in a womb, not in a lamb. So, when we come across circumstances where we are forced to choose, let me finish, and then let me see if someone else wants to ask a question. If we are facing a situation where we can save both the mother and the child through the use of technology, of course we should use it and develop it. Any other questions?
Any other questions on topic?
Right, do you want to come back with a question?
Have you had children yet?
Any other questions?
Have you had children yet?
No, go on.
Why? Why aren't you having children every time you can?
Okay,
What was the question, Bob?
so the question
Why aren't you
is
having children
there
every
a
time you can?
distinguishment between
Why don't you want to answer the
surgical
question?
abortion
That's
and pharmaceutical abortion? And the answer is there is no difference. If you take a pill that kills your child, it is same as going to an abortion clinic and allowing a surgeon to blow your child up in a vacuum or chop them up with scissors inside the womb and then pull them out with pliers. let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen. The act of abortion is an act of violence from start to beginning. But I want to be clear. In the pro-life debate, there's always one issue that never gets talked about, which is why are we not holding the men responsible for the life that they create? Why is all the responsibility falling on the woman to make the decision, to make the choice about whether she wants to bring the child? Men should be held accountable for every life they create and should be held responsible for the supporting of that life, even if they are not in a relationship with the woman. Any other questions? Oh, no.
It's so brilliant! Give all control back to them.
Right now,
Okay.
What's the question, Boxila?
So, ladies and gentlemen, politically you've all been duped. You've been lied to by the culture because they've invented a word called the fetus and they've used that word to mask the fact that what we're talking about is a human life in its earliest stage. The argument goes something like this. A fetus is just a clump of cells. It's not alive. What a rubbish statement. An amoeba is a single cell. It's still alive. And you, ladies and gentlemen, are just a clump of cells still, even now. Any other questions? What's my profession?
Go for the question.
So,
What was the question,
the question is, what is my profession? My profession, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm a part-time evangelist. So the lady is pointing to the fact that this is not a medical opinion, that it's not a doctor saying this to you. But all I am doing, ladies and gentlemen, is repeating the opinions of countless Christian doctors who argue avidly for life and argue avidly that the fetus is alive. Because it is alive. No one can give any evidence that the fetus is not alive without coming up with a definition of life that doesn't stand up to scrutiny and self-contradiction.
You forget the woman's body as well.
because I study biology and the definition is not correct.
Okay, so the lady has studied at school and believes that the definition she has been taught by a culture that is pro-abortion is correct. Madam, the educational system has lied to you. There are countless doctors and biologists who are Christians who would argue avidly that the fetus is alive. You've been lied to by your textbooks.
So, a couple would make love, and the man just ejects his sperm. There's no life created, he's still wasting life in a sense, isn't it? Think about that for a second before you answer. Sperm is alive and kicking, yeah? So if a man was to eject, and no baby was born, hasn't he also taken away something that God class as sacred life?
So, ladies and gentlemen, the argument is, how can you hold this position when through the act of ejaculation, millions, tens of millions of sperm cells die? And he's quite right. Sperm cells are living things and they do die, which proves, ladies and gentlemen, by that very argument that a fetus is alive. But we Christians have no concept of sacred sperm. We don't say that the life of sperm is sacred life. We say that human life is sacred. And human life is decided by what is genetically human. Sperm cells are not genetically human, and so they don't fall under the category of sacred life. Any other questions?
Why did you use biology definitions when it suited you only?
Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, go on, man.